My grandpa's name was Yakub, and my grandma's name was Minnie, and they were Dutch, and they'd come over and they would settle in West Michigan, again a lot like this countryside. They were farmers, and they had a little farm sort of built into the side of a hill, so it would help with the winter winds. It wouldn't get so cold, and they built inside a hill, a little barn. And they had a cow, and they were happy. They were happy, and then they had a baby. Before the baby, life could just go on. They would work together. But after they had the baby, Minnie stayed home. Minnie stayed home with Harold, was the baby's name. He was my oldest uncle. And little Harold, he was a good kid. But Yakub had to still go out to the fields to work every day. Had to go out, and he'd come home, and what would he find? He'd find Minnie sitting in a rocking chair, taking care of the baby. Oh, like being on vacation every day. He'd walk in and, "Yeah, there now, Minnie. What'd you do today?" "Oh," she'd say, "Yakub, well, I made a gruel, and I fed the cow, and milked her, and took care of the baby, and that. Well, that's nothing. That's nothing like what I have to do every day out there in the sun, there, Minnie." And Yakub just wasn't thinking. But Minnie was. And Minnie said, "Oh, Yakub, I think maybe you're right, Yakub. That maybe you need a break from your work. Why don't you stay home tomorrow with the baby? And I'll go out to cut the hay, and we'll switch jobs for a day." "Oh yeah, Minnie, like that. Yeah, it'd be like vacation for me. That's like, it's a whole day off there. You won't like that, Minnie, at all." "Oh, Yakub, it's okay. Let's try that." So the next day it happened that they switched jobs. And Minnie took that big scythe, for cutting hay, because it was hay cutting time, and she put it over her shoulder. She said, "Now, Yakub, you call me when it's dinner time there. And if you could, milk the cow and get her to pasture there, and churn the butter and have the oatmeal there cooking on the fire for dinner, and then ring the bell and I'll come back." "Oh, okay." "No problem, Minnie, no problem, dear." "Okay." And, Harold was still sleeping. So there was no problem at that point. So now Minnie goes off, and she goes over the hill, and she goes out to work. So Yakub, well, he just sits back in that rocking chair, and he gets out his pipe, and he's never sat down in the daytime before in his life. And what does a farmer do when he sits down? He goes to sleep. Well, he wakes up to the sound of a baby crying. Harold had woken up. He's got to get up, and he realizes that he hasn't gone out and hasn't milked the cow to get milk to feed the baby. So he picks up Harold, and he goes out to the barn, and he sits down to milk the cow. So he milks the cow with one hand, and he starts milking the cow and get the milk out, and he gets the milk out, and he brings it into the house. Right? But he doesn't shut the gate, and the pig is there, and the pig gets out and starts nosing around it. And so Yakub puts the milk down, and he takes Harold, and he puts Harold back in the crib. But when he's in the other room putting Harold in the crib, the pig comes into the house. He sees the milk bucket, sticks his big snout in there, sloshes around, and Yakub comes out and goes, "Get out of here, pig! Get out of here, pig!" And the pig goes and dumps the milk and goes out. And Yakub goes, "Ah! Hi! So now I gotta go back out and milk the cow again." Which is really tricky to milk a cow a second time that quick. So, and he can't leave the baby, so he goes back and he gets the baby, and this time he milks him with the other hand. Get it? The other hand? Get it? Yeah. I thought some of you would have picked up on that one. So he milks the cow, and he gets the pail back in, and he gets a little bit of milk into Harold, which is good, and the baby settles down, and the baby's going to go to sleep. And so he puts Harold down, and he takes the milk then and puts it into butter churn. The milk that's left, puts it into butter churn to churn it, so that he can have butter with the oatmeal that they're making for dinner. And he starts to churn the butter, and he goes, "Whew, I'm kind of hot. It's hard work." And then he remembers that down in the cellar, there's all that good ale that they put up in that great big casket. And he thinks, the baby's asleep? Okay, this will be good. And so he goes downstairs, and he's got the spout in the one hand, and he's got to knock the bung out and then put the spout in so that he can open the cask, right? Well, he's downstairs, and he just knocks the bung out, and he hears, "That pig is back in the house." And crash, and the butter churn goes over. And Yakub is so mad. He runs upstairs, and he's still got the spout in his hand, and he throws his head, "Get out of here, pig!" And he throws it, hits the pig, and for the one time in his life, he actually hits what he's shooting for. And the pig flops over dead. And Yakub goes, "Ah!" So he takes the pig, and he's, "I don't know what to do with this." So he drags it out the back door, but it doesn't fit all the way out, so the feet are still sticking in. And then he hears glug, 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 glug in the basement. And he realizes that the spout that he killed the pig with was supposed to go in the cask. And he runs down into the cellar, and there all that good ale is just all over the floor. And the cask is empty. And then he realizes he hasn't taken the cow out to pasture. Well, now it's too late. The day's too far gone. He can't get the cow all the way up to the pasture and still get back in time to make the oatmeal for the lunch, the dinner there. And so he gets a great idea. Because Yakub, he's a thinker. I take after him. He says, "Oh, I know what to do. There's great grass growing right on the roof of our house. It's a sod roof. And we're right next to the hill. I'll graze the cow up on the roof. Minnie will be proud of me." So he goes out to the barn, and he goes up around the backside of the hill, and he takes a big old plank, and he lays it between the hill and the sod roof of the house. And he goes out with a cow. And the cow's not liking this whole idea of walking across the plank over to get to the grass, you know. But Yakub, he's persistent. He's almost twice as smart as that cow, in fact. And he finally gets that cow, and he gets the cow on the roof. And the cow settles down and starts grazing on the roof. It is kind of good grass up there. And Yakub goes, "Now, I got to be careful. I can't have the cow stepping off the roof and falling down, right? So I know what I'll do." And he takes the rope and puts it around the cow's neck, and he runs it down the chimney, right? And he goes inside the house, and he ties it to him. That way, if the cow starts to go, he can just sort of move the cow back. Now, he gets the fire going in the fireplace, and he starts to get the gruel there, they're boiling there, and the water. And he's working along, and Harold's still sleeping, so there is a bunch of churning stuff over on the floor. He'll get to that. And he turns to go get whatever butter he got, and just at that moment, the cow stepped off the roof. And the cow had never been on a roof before. And the cow goes, "Moo!" Goes down. And as that cow goes down, Yakub, just like a rocket, goes whoosh out the chimney and swoosh, gets stuck in the chimney. Like this. And the cow is down, and the cow is sort of hanging there between the ground and God. You know? Whoa! Now, Minnie, who hadn't heard the bell ring to come in for dinner, had decided to come in from the field, and she walked down, and she had just gotten over the hill, and she looks down and she sees the cow. And she goes, "Ah!" And she runs down, she takes that big old sigh, and she cuts that rope. And the cow goes, "Moo!" Poof! Down on the ground. And inside she hears, "Ah!" Sploosh! And Minnie opens the door. And what does she see? She sees the butter churn turned over and sour milk and butter scattered all over the floor. She looks out the back door and sees the two hind legs of what used to be their pig. She smells, and down from the cellar she still smells stale ale coming up. She hears the sound of water down there. And she looks, and there in the fireplace is Yakub, flat out, in a bowl of boiling water, there in the middle of the fireplace. And Minnie, being a woman of few words, simply said, "Oh there, Yakub. How was your day?" And that was the last time that Yakub and Minnie ever traded jobs. The end.